Hello and welcome back to Movie Health Community, the internet's #1 source of health warnings at the movies. As always, please keep in mind that nothing produced by Movie Health Community is medical advice, nor has it been reviewed by any medical professionals. American Fiction is now up for Best Picture at the Oscars, as well as Best Actor for Jeffrey Wright and a few other awards. But before we talk about whether this movie's any good, let's talk about if this movie's safe. The answer is yes. American Fiction is safe for photosensitive audiences. The only strobe risk at all that this movie has involves a scene at night where people have flashlights. There's one brief moment where one of the flashlights gets flashed in front of the camera a couple of times. And yeah, that's it. There are no other effects even remotely resembling strobe light effects in this movie. For flashing lights, we are giving American Fiction a 1 out of 10. In terms of motion, that same scene has a little bit of shaky camera work, and the rest of it is completely safe in terms of motion sickness. In terms of mental health warnings, there is a backstory that does involve suicide, and throughout the movie, we see somebody have a rapid progression of dementia, so that may be upsetting to some audiences. I know it was kind of upsetting to me, but it was handled very tastefully and definitely never funny, and I thought it was handled really well. And the fact that I felt something while they were dealing with this is a good thing. Which brings me to, is American Fiction any good? Yes, this movie was excellent. It was really smart. It felt like a movie written by intellectuals, and if it was dumbed down at all, it doesn't make the audience feel dumb for having things explained to them or having things outlined to them. I was thrilled to see yet another grumpy professor being nominated for a Best Actor Oscar this year in a comedy after Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. Now we've got Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Jeffrey Wright's voice, I just have to say, his voice sounds so good on the big screen, and it delighted me so much to hear his voice in a lead role on the big screen. And I realized that one of the reasons I love his voice so much is because not only is it silky smooth in a Morgan Freeman type way, but he speaks at exactly the same octave that I speak in. And so he makes me feel like I could have a really good movie quality voice, or voiceover quality voice. Also nice to see Issa Rae in 3 critically acclaimed movies at the Oscars this year, after being in Barbie, which is up for Best Picture, after being in American Fiction, which is up for Best Picture, and after being in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is up for Best Animated Feature. 3 for 3 for her in 2023. One of my favorite things about this movie has to do with the first act of it. And it's that while we are being introduced to all these characters, it really just feels like we are watching their lives play out. And it almost doesn't feel like a movie. Like, it just feels like nature is happening throughout this storytelling process. And from the beginning right up until the moment that this main writer character sits down to write what the rest of the movie is going to be about, it just feels so natural, and you just feel like you're part of the family that's being depicted. And then when he does start writing, what they've chosen to do with the scenes involving his creative process of writing was so creative, and it made me want to sit down and write some more. So this is definitely a movie for the writers. I am going to give American Fiction an A. Thank you so much to our readers on Tumblr and Facebook, and as always, an extra special thanks to our patrons over on our Patreon page, whose names are scrolling across the screen like credits right now. We will have the flashing lights warning track for Oppenheimer for you by the end of this month. That is now a promise. Be sure to leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post new videos, and as always, stay safe at the movies.